There are more than 9,000 species of cnidarians, most of which are marine animals. Species a part of the Cnidarian phylum are Medusazoa, Emutazoa, Actiniaria, Penatulacea, and Alcyonacea. There are 4 major groups of cnidarians: Anthozoa, Cubozoa, Hydrozoa, and Cyphozoa. Anthozoans are sessile creatures, meaning they don't move. They are found only in marine habitats and they make up all coral reefs. The species that fall into this category are coral, sea anemone, sea pens, and sea whips. There are over 6,000 species of anthozoans which are found from the intertidal zone to the depths of the trenches. Cubozoans are also known as box jellies because when viewed from above they have a square shape. They are found in tropical and semi-tropical habitats and there are only 20 known species. They are very agile jellyfish due to a flap found under the umbrella called the velarium, which increases the amount of water being pushed out. They also have well-developed eyes. Hydrozoans inhabit marine and freshwater environments unlike the other groups of cnidarians. They are usually found in colonies made from small polyps connected together. Most colonies have a tree or fan-like appearance and only measure a few centimeters. Other hydrozoans, like the Portuguese man-of-war, swim in the open oceans using internal gas-filled floats to help their buoyancy. The Cyphozoan group of cnidarians includes mostly jellyfish that you may see at the beach. There are about 175 species worldwide and are usually medusa, meaning free swimming. Jellyfish can range from 12 millimeters to 2 meters in diameter, and marine jellyfish can consist of 99% water. Cnidarians were the beginning to life's diverse ballet. They possess a nervous net, muscle cells, and eyes, making them much more complex than sponges. However, they are very simple in comparison to fruit flies, nematodes, and vertebrates due to the fact that they don't have a brain, through gut, or blood vascular system. Anthozoans, hydrozoans, cubozoans, and cyphozoans have all been identified in Cambrian fossil records, which indicates the diversification of cnidarians occurred about 500 to 700 million years ago, making them older than the first dinosaurs. Cnidarians were the first organisms to develop a variation of a nervous system and muscle cells. In most cnidaria, the muscles are used to move the tentacles and to catch prey. Specifically in Medusa, they are used to propel the organism by forcing water out of the bell. They are also used to steer the Medusa by directing the water jet angles in longitude axis to the bell. In conjunction with cnidoblasts, which are cells that give the organisms the ability to sting, the nervous net aids in catching prey and in defense against predators. The deadliest species of jellyfish, the Irukandji, is known as the tiny killer because of its size of 2.5 centimeters. Jellyfish Lake in Koror Palau is home to over 20 million jellyfish that have lost their stingers. The jellyfish have no predators in that lake, so they have no need to spend energy to produce the sting cells. Reproduction can occur asexually or sexually. Asexual reproduction happens when a parent divides lengthwise or crosswise into 2 smaller individuals, or new individuals can be formed by pieces of tissue that are budded off the parent. What happens in sexual reproduction is the male releases its sperm, and when the sperm come into contact with female eggs, they fertilize. After the embryonic stage, the larvae transform into free-swimming planulae. The planulae detach from the mother and start sinking towards the deep end of the ocean until they find a hard surface to attach itself. Nematocytes are spherical capsules produced only in cnidarians by the cnidoblast cell. Several nematocytes occur on the body of organisms and contain a coiled hollow, usually barbed thread, which quickly turns outward from the capsule upon proper stimulation. The capsules usually contain poison and are used to capture prey and ward off enemies. Cnidarians have no organs like heart or lungs. Instead, they have a gastrovascular cavity, which is used for a mouth, and an internal cavity used for respiration. The bodies of most cnidarians are made of 3 layers: the endoderm, the ectoderm, and the mesoglea, a jelly-like layer that separates the endoderm and the ectoderm. Important functions, like respiration and excretion, happen by diffusion. The internal and external structures of corals are somewhat different than the rest of cnidarians. Instead of being soft and squishy, they have a hard external skeletal structure. Corals and sea anemones also have a mouth in which food enters and travels to the stomach, and there's tissue partitions which aid in digestion. Jellyfish can live from 6 months to 1 year. Generally, coral lives from decades to centuries. And sea anemones live around 60 to 80 years, but have the potential to live indefinitely. Sadly, most fall foul to predators. All cnidarians are carnivorous. Many eat small planktonic animals, and larger organisms eat small fish. Cnidarians don't hunt. Instead, they have to wait for their prey to swim into the tentacles. Once this has happened, other tentacles are brought to the prey to secure capture and subdue it with more stinging cells. The tentacles move the food to the mouth by bending in that direction or passing it to other tentacles closer to the mouth. Cnidarians excrete waste through diffusion or through their mouths since they have no anus. Cnidarians are found in all 5 oceans and in some freshwater lakes. Polyps are most ample in shallower waters because they need a hard surface to anchor themselves, although some sea anemones are found in the deepest parts of the ocean. Medusa maintained a preferred depth based on species. They usually live in shallower surface waters, in bays and along coasts. However, they can be found in open waters as well. The Crambion cookie jellyfish was first recorded in the 1890s off the coast of Queensland, Australia, but after 1910 it was never seen again and labeled extinct. However, in 2013, after being rediscovered by an aquarist, Pook Skyber, it became known that people all over the west coast of Australia have been seeing this mysterious creature for many years. There are some anemones that establish a symbiotic relationship with green algae. The anemone provides a safe harbor and exposure to sunlight, and receives oxygen and sugar, the byproducts of the algae's photosynthesis. Stomphia is a solitary cnidarian, part of the anemone group. Stomphia is a vulnerable-looking anemone and it appears to be an easy meal. However, when the predator comes in contact with the anemone, it unhinges from the rock it was anchored to and swims away from the predator. There is a jellyfish species called Turritopsis dohrnii that has been classified as immortal. Instead of dying, the jellyfish transforms itself back into its juvenile state as a polyp by retracting its tentacles, shrinking its body, and floating to the bottom of the ocean floor to start the life cycle over again. The only known way they can die is if they are eaten by a predator or if it is stricken by a disease.